to the Labour Front will not be shortchanged. Those are the words of the leadership of the Technical Universities and Teachers Association of Ghana, TUTAG, to government as they demand immediate implementation of their conditions of service and a review of fuel and car maintenance allowances. Teachers in the various technical universities across the country have boycotted classes after a strike declaration on Friday. President of TUTAG, Professor Collins Amayao, says the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has failed to expedite processes to approve the negotiated internally generated funds related to conditions of service to be included in the 2023 budget. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more in this report.
10 days ago, leadership of the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana served notice to lay down their tools after the government's failure to honor its codified conditions of service, which have been outstanding since 2016. However, according to the association, government has turned a deaf ear to its demands, despite the 10-day ultimatum. The association says the Ministry of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is failing to heed to directives by the National Labour Commission to approve documents to ensure payment of internally generated funds. Professor Collins Amayao is National President of TUTAG.
The conditions of service has two legs. One is payroll related, which is paid by government, and one is IGF, paid internally by the various universities. Because of the delay, the issue had to go to the National Labour Commission, which is just like a high court. And the National Labour Commission ruled that government should take the necessary steps to approve the document to ensure that those that have financial implications are captured in the budget. Okay, as we speak, most of the institutions have finished preparing their budget. So when will the approval come, and when will it be captured in the budget? And you agree with me that if an item is not captured in the budget, there's no way payment can be effected.
Professor Amayao says the delay in the 2023 budget reading gives the state agencies ample time to expedite processes for the approval of the documents for consideration in the budget.
They should take the necessary steps to have it approved before budgets are prepared, okay, to ensure that payment can start in January 2023. But it's been dragging. We don't know the motivation. And luckily for us, the budget has not been read. But in the number scheme of things, budget should have been read around 15th of November. You understand? So, fortunately for us, we still have some time. So we think that this is the time to push to ensure that we get approval for it to be captured in the budget.
The industrial action is also cemented by the government's refusal to engage the association on review of their off-campus and car maintenance allowances.
Early this year, the government side wrote to us that henceforth the well-known formula that is used to compute off-campus and car maintenance allowance will no longer apply. Henceforth, it's going to be absolute. So we wrote to GTEC and the government that that action, that letter, should be withdrawn because we will not agree. And we have not been engaged on this issue. Government has refused to engage us on this issue.
So unlike the other technical universities, including Ho Technical University, Sunyani and Takrady Technical Universities, who are currently having some students in class or an academic activity ongoing on their campuses, when you come here at the Kumasi Technical University, there is no such thing. That is because the school is currently on a vacation. So students are not around as of now. However, President of TUTAG, Professor Collins Amayao, warns that if this issue is not resolved immediately, the students could reel under the impact of this industrial action.
For Kumasi, I think the plan is to resume next month, 5th December. Okay, so reopening is close. and the other universities. As I've said, others are already in session. So our hope is that the issues are addressed timely to ensure that academic calendar will not be disrupted. But if government drag her feet to the point that all the universities resume, then we cannot be believed. We will not be shortchanged. Okay, we will not be shortchanged. What is rightly ours, we'll have to get it.
Teachers at the 10 technical universities in the country anticipate an immediate response and implementation of their demands from the government before they rescind their decision. For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Also, let's stay on the labour front. Labour unions and government have this afternoon reconvened negotiations as they stand by their demand so that at least a 60% rise in their base pay. My colleague Michael Niashali joins us live with updates on the negotiations. Pavani, what more can you tell us about what's happening? Michael Niashali, if you can hear us, I'm just asking what the latest is where you are. Well, my colleague Michael Niashali has been monitoring the engagements for us. We'll be connecting with him shortly. Michael, if you can hear me, I was just asking about the latest as to what the fallouts have been ever since the negotiations started.
Yes, so I can tell you on a fact that, Blessed, the meeting is yet to begin, even though members of or representatives of the various labor groups have been here for more than 2 hours. Now, this, you may say, is starting off on a rather hitchy note because the auditorium that was earlier booked to be used for the negotiations, we understand later had been rented out to another group that was supposed to meet at 3. So it made it impossible because this meeting, we understand, between the labor unions and government is going to drag on well more than 1 hour. The communique I cited earlier tells me that they were hoping to start at 2 p.m. And the other program was supposed to start at 3 p.m. So for that reason, they've had to reschedule. But I can tell you that almost every group is here. Most of them, from what they have been whispering when they pass just before they enter into the room, is that they are going to stand their grounds, and today is going to be fire for fire. Nobody's willing to back down on their claims. Just to let you understand where we have come from, last year, the same negotiation, the groups were looking at 25%. What did they get? They got 7%. The year before that, they got 4%. So this year they are actually asking for 60% increment on their base pay. As to whether they will get that or not, we are not sure. But definitely, as to who really is here, I have the National Chairman of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, Ambrose Yao Kwajoja, who will help me with some of the people that are in the negotiating room. I want to tell you that currently we are at the Ministry of Health where these negotiations are supposed to happen. But the place, though the air condition is on, you could definitely feel the tension in the air. But let me ask Mr. Kwajoja, so thank you very much for speaking to us on the pulse.
Thank you.
You have been inside. You have seen who is there. Who is actually in the room representing Labour?
Yeah, we have the Secretary General, his deputy, and some of our general secretaries. They are all there, together with other members from NAT, NAGRAT, and Co. They are in the room there. So my general secretary and the deputy are in there, but I decided to stay out here because the room there is small. Yeah.
Now, which other groups are also here? I mean, with similar demands. Which other groups? I have seen TUC. I have seen representatives also from CLOCSAG here. Who else is here?
We have CLOCSAG. We have all the government public sector workers are here. Every government sector, public sector worker is here.
Let me put across that there's fire service as well here, and the Ghana Police Service. They're all here to negotiate prison service as well. I have seen them. Usually the conversation is that you don't see uniformed men coming for negotiations of their base pay. But today, that is what we have here. So let me come back to Mr. Kojuja. So for TEWO, last year, when you got 7%, what was your reaction to that?
Well, members were very unhappy about that percent that we had last year, because earlier on, government explained certain things to us. Based on that, Labour accepted government's demand from Labour. But immediately after we accepted, things in the country started changing, and they changed very rapidly. That actually eroded that particular 7% in no time. I think within a month or two, it had already eroded the 7%. So all along, we have been ravaging in deficit from that time up to the time we asked for COLA. Yeah.
So, but how helpful was COLA to your members?
COLA came, but the COLA even, I may say, it got buried under the sand. Because, you know, you are in Ghana. Immediately after the COLA, the inflation started rising, as if there was some petrol poured in fire for the inflation to start running. So it just erased every COLA that we negotiated for the time. Yeah.
Now, you are asking for 60% increment in your base pay. Do you think that is realistic given the economic condition that is prevailing?
Let me give you some small arithmetical calculation. We have our juniors who earn as low as 600 cedis. And 60% we are talking, if you add it to the 600 cedis, it only gives you up to 800 cedis. Easy. And if you take the present circumstances in which we find ourselves, every price in Ghana has multiplied by 3 or 4. In fact, just look at everything. There is multiplication of 3 times or 4 times. Therefore, this demand is very realistic, especially if you go down, then it's going to affect the down people who collect very low salary. And I can tell you, I know of senior officers. I work in Ghana Education Service. Senior officers grade start from principal grade. And net take-home payment of senior officer is just about 2,000 cedis. But if you convert it to dollars, it's 100 and what? Is it $30? Yeah. And that is woefully inadequate. I calculated something from a senior officer who pay a rent of 500 cedis. Transportation through and fro for the month is 600 cedis. So it is 1,001. Look at the rest of them. He has children, he has wife, or a family of, let's say, 3, just 3. How can they live on the rest 1,100 in these present circumstances? Therefore, the 60% is the most realistic thing we can tell government. We could have gone more than that. You know, when we calculated the other day, it should have been around 70 to 80%. But we know the circumstance government itself finds itself. That is why we are talking about 60%. Yes.
I see. But again, are you not being insensitive to the situation that government finds itself? Not forgetting there's also negotiation and IMF deal.
Are you sure we are insensitive? You see, the other day in the negotiation room, there are people in this same country who are earning several amounts of money, and they are the people who certain services are even provided for them free, but they are earning higher than those who nothing is provided for them. So what is government then telling us? Are you getting me? Yeah. So take the Article 71 holders. They are being provided with further essential activities. Then our people take their raw pay to provide those services for themselves. So what are we trying to talk about? If we can disable that particular Article 71 and all of us go by single spine, then we know that, yes, government is sensitive to us, then we can also be sensitive to government the same way.
I see. So going into the meeting, you're going to be standing by your 60%?
Yeah, for now, that is our demand. And, you know, we don't carry this mandate by ourselves. We carry it from the grassroots. So they are listening and they are looking up to us. So that is where we are going up to. Yes.
Usually for negotiations, just like when we go to the market and we hope to get some, we have an upper ceiling and lower ceiling. I mean, what is going to be your lower ceiling? What are you going to settle for? Worst case scenario?
Yeah, you know, the last time we started the negotiation, the government came out with their proposal. We thought they could even come with a midpoint proposal. Then we can start talking from there. But where government started from, that is what actually lowered our...
Let me ask, where did the government start from?
a very low rate. I don't want to mention the rate yet because we've not finished.
Give us something very close. Round it up for us.
Well, no, I don't want to go there. Government came with a very low rate, which is not, it wasn't accepted by us. Okay. Yes.
But did it come anything close to what you asked for?
No, if it had come like midpoint, we would have sat down and continued the negotiation. Yes.
I see. So, what we've had a lot of conversations from the room here. There's already delays in terms of the starting of the program itself. Yes. What do you make of that? This is intentional. I've heard one of your members represent a different group, obviously, saying that they believe that this is just delayed taxes from government.
We are not, if we are going to sleep here today to get what we are looking for, we are not bothered. That is why we are here. Yes.
So it's 60 or nothing?
Not 60 or nothing. We said 60. Even if you are coming, move forward reasonably well. Like I said, the midpoint will start the proper negotiation.
Okay.
Yes.
Midpoint will be 30?
Yes. That is what will start the proper negotiation.
I see.
Yeah.
But Mr. Kojoja, please hold on for me. So, just to understand you, so you want 60% increment on your base pay alone, and the repercussions on your allowances. You know, you take your allowances also on the other on your base pay as well. You don't think you're going to be crippling government?
Let's talk. You know, these things will enhance productivity. Because if you pay me well, I work well for you. If you don't pay well, you are actually dampening the spirit of people who are working for you. And it will lower productivity. I can tell you that many people who are not paid well, they look elsewhere for other things so that they can survive. Yes.
So, I mean, because you are the chairman, I can ask you, paint to us a picture of what it is in these economic times, how your members are actually faring.
My members, actually, I can tell you with emphasis that some are unable to go to work because they don't have transport to go. And now people manage to devise several kind of schemes. Instead of taking a trotro, let's say from Circle to Accra, people are now alighting at midpoint so that they can make the rest of the journey on foot because they don't have money to go with. People go now, they take only 1 meal a day. That is what is happening. And in fact, I can tell that several people have been evacuated from their various accommodation because we don't have a very good housing policy for workers. So many people are no more in their accommodation because they cannot afford to pay the rent anymore. So these are the things they are real things that are happening.
I mean, how is that affecting their productivity in terms of how you measure what they do and its impact on, the expectations that be given to you as members of TEO?
Yeah. Originally, if you are not motivated well, you won't give up your best. That is for everybody. You know, people who are motivated, they work very hard and productivity is enhanced. And that is all that we are talking about. We are bringing the fact to government. So government is supposed to listen to the facts we are bringing to them so that productivity will enhance in the country. Yes.
Okay. So to be fair, last 2 years you got 4%.
Yes.
Last year you asked for 25%.
Yes.
What did you get? 7. This year you're asking for 60%. Yeah. Even in less harsh economic conditions like this, you got 7. If government offers you 10, 15, are you going to be taking just like he's giving you for cola?
If he give 10, 15,
yes. If
government give 10, 15, I don't think that will be possible. Government himself, I don't think government will be so wicked to us to give us 10, 15%. I don't think so.
But last year, you asked for 40. 25. You got 7%.
Certain things were explained to us. And the inflationary condition last year is not like this year. It was, I think, around 13, 14% thereabout. That was how come with explanation coming from government. But today, the inflationary thing, even if I want to talk about domestic inflation, that is the food we eat, and other things, that transportation and other things, is more than what a statistical service has brought on board. Do you understand? So the real inflation that we are talking about, that affects we workers, housing, the food, and other things that affect us directly, that inflation is very high. So if you are coming to 50%, government is only meeting us halfway, according to our real inflationary trend. Yes.
I see. So to the final question though, what will happen next? I mean, what will be your next line of action if government does not yield to your demands?
That when we get to the bridge, we'll know how to cross it.
But the bridge is just a few hours away.
Yeah, so let us get there and see how we can cross it. But you are here. Okay. So when we get there, we'll know how to cross the bridge.
Sure. Let me thank you very much. So, Mr. Ambrose Yao Kwejoja is the national chairman of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union. The meeting is, I understand there's some activity that is going to be happening, so you go inside. I will bring you all the facts and details of it. The labor or unions in Ghana asking for 60%, at least a barest minimum, increment in their base pay, and that's what they're here to negotiate ahead of the 2023 working year. They are also mindful of the fact that that's what's going to happen ahead of the budget reading. So you just heard from him that if for nothing at all, government should be meeting them halfway, and that is only when they are going to be willing to hear the demands of government in any case. Last year, they asked for 25. What they got was 7%. This year, they're asking for 60. Will that be granted to them? Only a few hours will be able to find out from that. So, Blessed Togan, this is exactly what is happening at the Ministry of Health here. So, there's a lot of activity that will be happening in this particular room here. We understand that this is the first floor, I beg your pardon, and some activity will be going to bring you all that facts and details pretty shortly when it happens. We'll
be on the lookout for that. My colleague Michael Niashale joining us from the Ministry of Health, where labour agitations are on, negotiations are also ongoing between government and the labour unions. You just said that non-negotiable, 60% is what the labour unions are asking for. Government is giving way below 20%, a situation they're not happy about. We'll keep monitoring the events and bring you some updates. And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll be back shortly. Thanks for staying with us here on the Journey Channel. There's a need for us to take you back to the Ministry of Health. Earlier, we told you that labour unions have been engaging government on their demand for a 60% pay rise. My colleague Michael Niashale is still there engaging in a bit more of the labour unions that are making this demand. We can now cross over and get some more concerns that are emanating from that negotiation today.
Tomorrow. Again, earlier we mentioned that there were some difficulties finding a suitable venue for this particular meeting. The large size of the negotiation labor unions made it difficult for them to use the particular room that they just finished using here. So we'll be bringing you some more updates as and when this happens, Blessed.
We just wanted to get the essence of why we've not been able to secure a concrete deal as of now. It appears we've lost connection to Michael Niashale. We'll definitely get you an update on that, but it appears that things did not go as expected, and that would mean that obviously the negotiations would have to be deferred for a few more days. But earlier you heard from Table raising concerns that their members can no longer wait for this. As to what the implications will be, we'll definitely talk about that later on. 14 people have been arrested by the police for killing a chief. His name for now has been withheld, but obviously we do know that the reports that we're receiving indicate that of course he was involved in some sort of a clash leading to his murder. There's more in the following report for you. Apologies for not being able to bring you that report. Let's get Michael Niashale on. He's at the Ministry of Health. Michael, if you can hear me, I was just asking about why the engagement with the labour unions did not go right.
Can you come again with the question?
Give us the latest, Michael.
Yes, so what we are understanding right now is that the meeting has been adjourned to tomorrow, November 23, 2022. What we are hearing is that two major reasons. The first one is the inability to find a suitable venue for the negotiations, and two, sort of the stalemate and to break the tension within the room, given that most of the labor unions say they're not happy about government's initial offer. They decided to call off the meeting for today and reassemble tomorrow, hopefully where they hope that they'll be able to finalize their negotiations.
Michael, so who else have you been speaking to as to the expectations?
Yes, so I've spoken to the president of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. He tells me that, in fact, confirms to me that government is offering them between 10 to 15%, and that's the offer that's been given by government in their earlier meeting. But government is yet to change its stance on that particular percentage. Again, he confirms to me that the negotiations haven't gone the way that the labor unions were expecting. Also, we're speaking to Dr. Isaac Bampoado, who is the president of, the president of the CLOCSAG, Civil Servants Association. He tells me that their demand is well over 100%, and that's what they've been asking for more than 100% increment in the base pay. So if government is willing to negotiate to them, they should begin to talk in the language that they want. Those are his words, that they prefer government come out with better percentages in terms of its offer, and then they can begin to sit down to do proper negotiations. Not forgetting that the reading of the budget is just a few days ahead. But this negotiation, I'm told that it should have happened way earlier in the year to allow for government to properly write down its budget. But it's yet to happen. And with just about 48 hours to go, you are having this negotiations also stalled. The labor unions say they are committed to making sure they come to finality, only if government is willing to start mentioning favorable numbers that they are willing to listen to.
Michael, thank you for your time. Michael Niashele giving us the latest on the negotiation.